Okay, that's fine. All right. It was like your cloud storage is full, and I was like, I know, I already took care of it. But, okay, so I'm just gonna like let's just dive.
We know what to
I'm
do.
being weird about it, so let's just dive in.
I
Okay,
feel you.
so we actually did not know each other before any of this. Like, you were introduced to me and to the institute from a friend, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so like, can you just tell us a little bit of your story of that and like what led you to join
Yeah.
trips?
So what actually led me to even the friend, I'll go back before that.
Yeah, please.
So about 10 years ago, I had a complete health breakdown where I couldn't walk. My brain shut down. I had about 65 different ailments. And I also had like was experiencing major stuckness and like a catastrophe in my life in all the areas. Basically, I feel like it was like my health and my life broke down. And I learned that the root cause of all the things was from stress. And I kept trying to do all the things to reduce the stress. And finally realized I couldn't meditate it away. And eventually, so I kept trying to do the things. And then eventually I was like, when I kept trying, like I was meditating, I was going to Buddhist meditation classes, I was doing yoga, all these things. And I kept being like, kept getting diagnosed with stress related disorders and issues. And I was like, but I don't understand. I'm doing all the things. Like, how am I still stressed? And then I started to explore, like, where, got curious with myself. And I was like, where is this stress actually coming from? Because the tests don't lie. And this is now like, I'm in a loop with this. And as I started to like explore when I was feeling stressed, I started to notice it wasn't like that I had like too many carpools. It was like the experience I was bringing to the carpools. I started to realize that I was like, oh, like I'm so stressed that I told this person that I was going to take their kid home and I don't have the, I'm like, what I was bringing to the, like, I don't look good and I don't have enough organic snacks and like all of this stuff. So I started to realize that it was from my disconnect from my sense of self, from my trauma, that was the root of the stress. Once I started doing that work and healing the trauma and coming home to myself, I experienced like a radical transformation in my health and my life. And I started feeling it became my mission to want to help other like overwhelmed moms with this. But then I got to a place where I was like, it's all fine and well that I've healed myself and I have like whatever experience that I had, but I really want to understand this in a really comprehensive way. I want to be able to, I want it to be like broken down in a way that I can go even deeper into my healing besides just going like week to week, going to therapy, like, which is great, and reading all the things, but it becomes like very, your piece, putting a piece here and a piece there, and all of this stuff. And so while I was doing the things and I was experiencing it, I knew that once I really worked with someone who could help me understand this in a very comprehensive manner, help break it down for me, I knew that that would take me much further in my healing, and I knew that it would give me the tools to help help other people. So anyway, I then was looking for, I was like, who is this magical person who like is really skilled and experienced in this work, and who's been there and who gets it and who's also a mom, and who and who, where I can learn this from. And the person that we know was like, oh, she's a mom of 3. She's creating literally an institute where she's teaching people like all the pieces. And also like, and I was like, wait, like, and it was a perfect timing. It was like right when I was looking for it. And it literally felt like it was like just like when the student is ready, the teacher appears, type of thing. So then I was like, I just, at that point is how I then was led to you and to trips, and why I wanted to, that's like essentially also why I wanted to join.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I actually I appreciate your reflection there, because I actually haven't had it reflected back that way before. And it's so good. Like, yeah, when you're doing therapy, right? This isn't therapy. You're doing really deep work in therapy, and like there's disconnect in between sessions, sometimes like on a Tuesday, something happens in a session and you're like, okay, yeah, I'll talk about that on Sunday. But like by the time Sunday rolls around, you're like, I don't want to talk about that anymore. And so like there's not a lot of like in the moment processing or like, hey, I need help with this right now. And that's how therapy is set up in our Western world, understandably so. Can you imagine if you had 300 therapy clients and like they all got access to you all the time, right? But it is a little bit disjointed. And when you're doing it yourself, you don't know what you don't know.
Right. And
so
also,
yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I know the answer to this, but I would love for you to share the answer to this, because looking back at how you like came into trips and where you're at now, I just think this is such a beautiful part of the story. So did you have any hesitations, Misha?
I mean, so the funny thing is like I just shared, like my heart knew it was the right thing, but obviously like, and to be totally fair, I have been going through some like really hard financial things over the past year, truthfully. And also, so yeah, I had financial stuff coming up, which was legitimate, but I also like, the truth of it is like, this is like the most needed expense. It took me a minute to get there because obviously there was like, there was trauma coming up, right? Of like, and I was just, it was a lot of different pieces, but I think, and I think we revisited this at one point, and I can't even remember the details at this point, but what I remember in this moment is that I wanted to do it. Something happened with me financially. I felt nervous. I pulled back, but then I kept like feeling the pull, and I finally was like, I'll figure it out. I'm trusting myself. And literally, even though in full transparency, like, and I think so many of us have had a hard year, but it's been a hard year, and it has like never felt better for me to make this payment because it is the most valuable investment. And it's so there, it's besides getting like 10 times more, I don't know, more than 10 times more than you get from therapy, because you're getting, first of all, from the time that you're getting spending with you and your teachers and community, processing, learning, unpacking, breaking down. And then me revisit the amount of times I watch the trainings while I'm in the bathtub, while I'm, so it's like constantly being able to have, and then the group. So it's like 24/7 in-depth, comprehensive learning and healing, which has allowed me to just completely, like, I feel like skyrocket. Like to think that a year ago, I was in the place that I was in as it relates to like various aspects of how I wanted to feel with this work, how empowered I wanted to be with it, how all of the things, to realize that all happened in a year is remarkable, I think. And so a testament to trips. And also I think that, so yeah, I had a hesitation, but I mean, and I'll be totally honest, like, because of who you are and the way you run the program, you're always willing to meet people where they are and say, like, is there a conversation? Like, you've come to me and said, like, is there a conversation we need to have? I saw that you're going through this, right? No, or I've come to you, whatever. And it's always been like, we'll work it out. You know what I mean? So not to like, I don't know if that's what you want to cut out or not.
No, my gosh, no, I'm totally keeping that.
I was scared. Some things I don't know what to,
Yeah. And I may I share a reflection?
Yeah.
The thing that I've noticed in you over this program is you're like, you have this more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I like, it's not self-trust. Like you've always trusted yourself. And the thing I see in you so much more is like, you trust yourself, and outside influences are starting to have less effect on causing that self-trust to waver.
100%. Yes. In fact, without like the past couple of weeks, I feel like the universe has been testing me. I've gotten like every day for the past 2 weeks, it's been all these things that have been like, as you call the oofy moments of like, and it's been like a theme of like, just, yeah, hitting all the wounds. And in the past, I feel like I would not have been as regulated. I would have definitely been in self-sabotage or self-protection more frequently. I would have been taken down a bit more, much more anxious. I would have lost a lot more time. This time, I have so much on my plate right now in my life, but yeah, and I have been able to hold myself through it so well. I have stayed so regulated. I have been so conscious of like I have been able to guide myself through how to give myself the appropriate reparenting and self-care. And because of that, it's not that I don't feel like stuff, but like I feel like it's not I'm good. Like I'm good. And I know what I need and that is huge when you have like a household to run and a business to run and 3 kids to parent and they have their shit. Excuse me. And
No, shit's fine. You can say shit.
so like I feel like that's been huge because yeah, and I think that there's always more to go there. I mean, until I'm like a Buddhist monk or whatever.
Right.
But no, I honestly I've been celebrating this like this the stressors I've been feeling because I actually am so fucking proud of this. I keep doing it. I'm so proud of how it's actually feels really rewarding to be able to be so resilient in the hard.
Yes. Ooh, yes, that's the word, right? And I think a lot of people don't understand what true resilience is because I think that the way that we're taught resilience, like not in like we teach resilience differently in trips. I feel like the world teaches resilience as you get knocked down and you get back up.
Chin
right?
up. Yeah.
Yeah, like you just you take
up.
the licks and you keep on ticking, right? Like those sayings. And for us, the way we teach resilience is like, no, you get knocked down and you take a minute and you're like, oh, that hurt.
Right.
What am I feeling right now? Like, where am I in pain? Like, what wounds need tended to? What do I need to talk to somebody about this? Like, why did that happen? What is the meaning here? And then we get back up and then we go, okay, now that we've processed all of that, how do we move forward? Like, that's an entirely different form of resilience.
Yes.
You're not just like a bouncy ball.
Right. I feel like the resilience to what your point in the world is kind of like basically stopping your emotions and moving on. And like, right. And like you, and to your point, basically are saying what I went through in a different way is like, I've been allowed to feel my feelings while also give myself love, while also move on and show up for life. So not breaking down, not bucking up, but like in the middle and allowing myself to like, as I love to use this word because I flow, but I really,
I
feel like I am flowing, like I do.
And I see that so much more in you too, because I feel like when you first came into the program, like you showed up that way for your people. And like now you show up that way, not only for your people, but like for yourself as well.
Yes, totally.
Okay, I'm glad my reflection's landing because I was like, sometimes what I see isn't like what you feel. So I guess my question, and maybe you've already answered it, but like, what would you say is the biggest takeaway for you? Is it something you already mentioned, or is there another piece that?
Yeah, I think it's the depth. So it's something I want to add to. I do feel that I've always been, because of who I am, like my nature, I feel like I've always been a very self-aware person, but you can only be as self-aware as like the depth of my self-awareness has like quadrupled, I don't know, beyond that. It's been so much more because I have now the lens to objectively view myself in a different way. I don't know if that even made sense. Did that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, I have the tools and perspective to see things that were unnoticed, that were in a blind spot before potentially because I didn't actually know to look for them, or I didn't know they were a thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, sorry. Go.
No.
I just wanted to say that, like, so because you could be the most like self-aware person, but you'll know until like there's always more to learn, there's always more to understand. And in trips, because you're literally breaking down like psychology and human behavior and like thinking process, like everything so much, there's always a new perspective, lens, and area that you have not yet seen that you get to shine a light on and unpack and heal. And so because of that, I feel like I've expanded. I feel I've now like I'm even more fully expressed. I feel even more whole and even more like I thought I was true to myself, but now I feel like I actually know more of myself to be true to. You know what I mean? It's so good.
So good.
So yeah,
Oh, that's so
one.
good. I love that. I know more of myself to be true to. Yes. Because like in trips, one of the things that you are saying that I think a lot of other people reflect back as well is like, oh, I've never looked at it that way. I've never thought about it that way. And by the way, that's by design, because what we're doing is we're creating a really safe space for you to like drop into and learn and like pull off pieces of yourself and look at them and go, wait, is this me? Or is this something that somebody put on me and told me was me? And I just went, oh yeah, okay, sure. And so like there's this fundamental essence of curiosity without judgment.
Yes, 100%.
And so like it's so much easier to see who you are and how you are when you take that lens of judgment off, and we're just like, look,
Yeah.
oh, you numb by doing that? I numb that way too. Or like, oh, you yell at your kids? Oh, that makes a lot of sense because that's a trauma response. Like you get permission to own all of the parts of you, and then you're able to go like, okay, what parts of these are trauma? What parts of these are my personality? Like, what do I want to keep? What do I want to get rid of? And yeah, so like,
And
I think
add to
it's,
that,
yeah,
yeah, I
please.
just want to add to that that like because what you just said, because of the safe space you create and in community, and because of that, because people feel uncomfortable sharing and bringing out their like skeletons in the closet and their like fears and all the parts that you just hide and suppress everywhere else, not only is it deeply healing in and of itself from that standpoint, but also then because people are bringing things to the, you actually are like, oh, I didn't realize, like you feel like you can then, it helps you feel comfortable and reminds you of other things that you also go through all in real time. And you're like, oh, me too. To have this like cathartic outlet to be able to like share with people. And like, that in and of itself, that community, the non-judgmental safe space and community is like critical, I feel like, for healing. And so that has been, I mean, I've had such a tough year. And I think um like I remember there was at one point because of financial support, I was like, do I turn it? I was like, I can't turn it off. Like I can't, like it's my and I know like I'm not like in a place of like putting, but I just think I don't mean it in a, I think you know what I mean. I mean in a sense that like it's really so nourishing and healing in so many ways. And also um I've noticed that I'm so much more regulated in my day-to-day life. And also I have so much less drama in my life, like both with myself and my kids.
Yeah. Like if there's no, if people watching this, the only reason you join is to have less drama.
I mean,
I would agree. Yeah, like I think it does. It makes, I feel like my life has become a lot more boring because there's not all these activating, triggering stimuli anymore. And that's by design, which by the way is like a whole new place of healing that you then go to, because you're like, I have to actually learn how to feel safe being bored, which is so weird. So I'm really glad you spoke to that, because I don't think people realize that of trauma creates dysregulation, not just internally, but externally, and it attracts dysregulation externally. So like if everything is chaotic around you and you're not feeling regulated, that's a sign that this is probably some stuff you want to look at.
Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who is like, I think I want to join, but I don't know? Like, what would you say?
If you're even thinking about it, even if you're not thinking about it, it's like you need to do it. I really believe that like every person deeply needs this. And though I think that if the stressors, so I'll talk about a couple of things I just remembered about that I forgot to say.
Yeah.
If you're feeling stressed about the time commitment, it's I remember that being one of it that just came up because I remember thinking, I was like, well, I have 3 kids and I'm watching a program and I'm in this other thing. And I really was worried about it. And it's literally a welcome, it's like the most welcomed thing on your calendar. And also it's so you can do it at your own pace. But also you'll want to show up for it, but you can do it as you want. You've designed it in such a way where like you come and go however it works for you. And there's replays available, whatever. But the point is I think you called it like it's an adult learning
Yeah.
format, something. But yeah, and so I think there's no stress associated with this. Any stress that you're thinking you have, because that was like literally me. It's not, this is a non-stress thing. Like Lee makes it in such a way where it is not stressful. And when it comes to any like rigidity or anything, it's not happening here. So it's a healthy landing pad. And I think you will walk away from this feeling so happy that you gave yourself this gift, because your entire life you're going to save time, save energy. You're going to gain back so much of like what has been eaten away from all of the things that your trauma potentially is causing that you don't know. You're going to gain so much time and energy back. So yeah.
Mm. Thank you for reflecting that. Yeah, like, you're going to give some stuff up in the program, but like, it's not anything that you want to hang on to.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I like, absolutely. You are going to give things up, but like, you're going to be really glad that you are giving those things up, because you're going to be like, oh, I don't want that anymore.
Yeah. It feels
So,
so good. It feels so good.
well, I really appreciate you. And you're continuing on in our teacher training, which is only available to people who've gone through trips. So if you're like, oh, I want to like learn how to teach this to other people and train other people using like the Institute's methods, you got to do trips so that you can learn them. So
yes. And I will tell you, Lee, I didn't even have a chance to tell you because I feel like I haven't had 1 second lately, but this is not, but I implemented so much of the material I learned from you in my workshop on Sunday. I hosted a workshop on Sunday, and now 2 companies want to hire me to come and do it. That they came to the, and it's because of like the way that you organized it and how brilliantly you've broken it down. It's just, I mean, you're absolutely remarkable, and I'm so grateful for you and for everything. Like I can't even. Truly, I sing your praises all day long, even though I don't tell you all the time. All day long, I am, and I mean that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. I'm really grateful that you joined, and I love that. I remember seeing your post on Facebook, and I saw the picture in the back, and I was like, oh, that's internal family systems.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I meant to write to you. I haven't had like a second.
Yeah, but I love that because I was like, oh my gosh, she's using what she's learned, and I feel so proud. So yeah, I just wanted to share that piece too, because like I can't wait to spend 9 more months with you. So thank you so much for doing this. Y'all also go check out Misha's work. She's phenomenal. And yeah, well yeah, my pleasure. Bye y'all.
Can I just tell you one thing? Oh, I thought you were.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop it here.
Okay.